Chapter 7 Human Nutrition 7.1 Diet. The objectives are very important. After you're done studying, you should go back to the objectives and make sure that you can totally fulfill them. What's diet? Diet is simply all the food you can eat in one day. So the food that's eaten in one day is called a diet. But what is a balanced diet? A balanced diet is the diet that contains all the required nutrients in suitable proportions and the right amount of energy. These are the three main conditions that, if fulfilled, you can call this diet a balanced diet. Watch these figures to see the suitable proportion. So, required nutrients are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, vitamins, minerals, water, and fiber. Let's see the importance of each. But before seeing the importance, we need to know that a balanced diet is not the same for every individual. There are certain circumstances and certain conditions that will decide the proportions of the meal that you need. For example, the age. Babies need more protein. Why? Because they are growing, just like baby plants. If you have a plant that's growing, it needs a lot of proteins and minerals, of course, for babies to build their bones. Young ages need also proteins for the same reason, for growth, but they need also carbohydrates because they are active, they run and play and climb, so they need energy. Old ages need a lot of fiber. Why? To improve digestion, because as we get older, the digestion becomes harder. So we need fiber to improve the digestion process, because fiber will improve the peristalsis. Also, we need less fat to prevent heart disease, like coronary heart disease that we will learn about later during the transport chapter. Old ages also, in general, need to eat less because their metabolism is slower than young ages. What else? Sex. Sex or gender decides the proportions you need in your meal. Like males need more protein because they build more muscles, while females, on the other side, need more iron and calcium, especially if the female is pregnant, because she's building up the baby's bones, teeth, and blood, and also because females lose a lot of blood during the menstrual cycle each month. Work. The type of work decides the amount of carbohydrates you need, for example, because if you're putting a lot of energy and you're moving a lot, like heavy workers, for example, you will need a lot of carbohydrates because this means that you need a lot of energy. So, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, they make most of the dry mass of the balanced diet. Let's see what's the importance of each of them. For example, carbohydrates, they are the source of energy, as we learned before, and when they are oxidized during aerobic respiration, they produce the energy needed for active transport, for cell division, for the basic and daily muscle contraction. From where you can get them? You can get them from bread, pasta, rice, and potatoes, for example. So they are found in many foods. Lipids. Lipids also are very important because they are the storage of energy. They help insulate the body from the outer temperature or the outer environment, which is why we are warm-blooded. For example, they are needed to build the cell membranes. They can be stored in the body in the form of fat. What are the foods that contain lipids? Butter, corn oil, eggs. Proteins. Proteins are the metabolic catalysts. What are the metabolic catalysts? Enzymes, remember? They transport molecules, repair muscles, they make our hormones and our antibodies, our defense against diseases. From where can we find proteins? We find them in meat, fish, and also cheese. Vitamins. What are vitamins? Vitamins are organic substances which are needed in tiny amounts. So these are organic substances. When I say something organic, this means that it contains carbon in its combination or in its molecule. So do we need them in a huge amount, like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins? Do they make most of our meal? Actually, no. Just tiny amounts are needed. Examples are vitamin C and vitamin D. Where can I find vitamin C? I can find it in citrus fruits like oranges, limes, lemons, and many of the raw vegetables. Where can I find vitamin D? In butter, egg yolk. But most of the vitamin D is made by your own body. When your skin gets subjected to sunlight or exposed to sunlight, the skin makes vitamin D. That's why being subjected to sunlight is very important, and that's why especially babies, growing babies, need to be subjected to sunlight. Why? Because vitamin D helps calcium to be absorbed. Why do I need calcium to be absorbed? Because mineral calcium is very important for making bones and teeth. So without calcium, bones and teeth will not be strong, and calcium won't be absorbed without vitamin D. So what will happen if we do not get enough vitamin D, or if our body does not have enough vitamin D? Rickets. Rickets is the outcome of the deficiency of vitamin D. What's rickets? It's actually brittle and soft and deformed bones. So when young children in industrial areas, for example, were not having enough vitamin D due to the lack of their subjection to sunlight, they started having rickets. Again, it's soft and deformed bones. What about vitamin C? Why do we need it? We need it to make stretchy protein. What do I mean by stretchy? Stretchy means like your skin. Your skin is stretchy. What is this stretchy protein? It's collagen. So we can find it in our skin and other tissues. Without vitamin C, we will not have good tissue repair. Also, the deficiency of vitamin C causes scurvy. What are the symptoms of scurvy, or what you can see when a person has scurvy? Pain in the joints and muscles, bleeding gums and other places. And this disease was very common in sailors because staying a very long time in the sea, they were not able to eat fresh vegetables. They don't have access for fresh vegetables. That's why they started developing scurvy. Minerals. What are minerals? Minerals are inorganic substances which are needed also in tiny amounts, just like vitamins. The most important or the most famous ones are calcium and iron. Where can I find calcium? Milk and any dairy product, and also in bread. Why do I need it? I need it for, again, the bones and teeth, and also for the blood clotting. Deficiency of calcium will give me brittle bones, teeth, and also poor blood clotting. The person can lose blood, a lot of blood, before a clot is formed. Iron. Iron is found in liver, red meat, egg yolk, dark green vegetables. Why do I need it? I need it to make hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a mixture of iron and protein. So it makes the red pigment in blood, and it's responsible for carrying oxygen. Without it, anemia will happen. So what's anemia? It's when the red blood cells are not able to carry enough oxygen to deliver it. So without iron, anemia can happen, which is very dangerous. Roughage or fiber. What is it made from? It's made from the cell walls of the plants. It keeps your alimentary canal working properly. What's the alimentary canal? It is the part of the digestive system where the food passes. So, how does it help the alimentary canal or make it work properly? Because it helps move the food by a process called peristalsis. Prevents constipation since it helps peristalsis, which is the contraction and relaxation of the alimentary canal. Of course, it will prevent constipation because food is moving in a regular movement, and also helps in the balanced diet. Why? Because it provides you or makes you feel full. So therefore, you will not eat more than the proper proportions that your body needs. What are examples of fiber? Leafy vegetables such as cabbage, brown unpolished rice, not the white rice, the brown unpolished rice, outer husk of cereals like what? Like oats, barley, whole meal bread, and this is called barn. Next, water. You need to know that 60 to 70% of your body is made of water in those different percentages as you see in different organs. What is exactly made of water in my body? The cytoplasm inside the cells. It's the solution inside the cell where all organelles are floating. It is mostly made of water. Metabolic reactions, all of the chemical reactions in your body that makes you stay alive, only take place in the presence of water. The liquid part of the blood called the plasma is mostly water, where most substances are dissolved to be delivered and transported, like your nutrients, your hormones, all of them are dissolved in your plasma. Water is also needed to dissolve enzymes and nutrients in the alimentary canal. Not only in the plasma, but even before the absorption, water is very important. Also, excretory products like urea are dissolved in water to be excreted outside of the body in the form of urine or sweat. Food cannot be transported or absorbed without the dissolving in water. Exchange of gases in the lungs, even the exchange of gases in the lungs happen in the presence of water. Plants can't absorb minerals unless they are dissolved in water and in the presence of water. So, let's solve some questions on this lesson. Which components make up most of the dry mass of a balanced diet? Carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Which condition can be sometimes prevented by eating plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables? It is bleeding gums. How do I know? Because fresh fruits and vegetables contain vitamin C, and the deficiency of vitamin C causes scurvy, and bleeding gums is one of the symptoms of scurvy. Water is a good solvent. What does this mean? It means that many substances dissolve well in water, so it is a good solvent for many solutes. The table shows vitamins and mineral salt content of our food. There you go, here's the table. Which foods would stop a person from suffering anemia, which is the lack of hemoglobin, and scurvy, bleeding gums? Okay, anemia, lack of hemoglobin, happens when iron intake is less, and scurvy when vitamin C is not enough. So, how do I solve such a question? I will look here at the food that has high iron and know that it's going to prevent anemia, so it's going to be food 2. And I will look at the one that contains high vitamin C content, and it will be the one that will prevent the scurvy. And I will choose the choice that has each one of them in the right place. Okay, now with the paper 3 questions. Now with the paper 3. Figure 2.1 shows the relationship between body height and body mass in humans. People can be placed into categories according to this relationship shown in Figure 2.1. Table 2.1 gives the height and mass of 4 students. Use the information in Figure 2.1 to complete the last column in Table 2.1. So student G has the height of 1.5 and the mass of 73. So here he is. So now student G is obese. Student H 1.7 and 65. There we go. So he is the correct weight. Student J 1.8 and 55. Here we go. So he is underweight. Student K is overweight. Okay. So suggest 2 ways in which Figure 2.1 could be improved to make it apply to everyone. Suggest means something that you think could help, and it's totally from your own mind, that's not mentioned in the question. So these are the suggestions that were written in the mark scheme. Extend the height axis, extend mass axis, make it gender specific to be more accurate, age specific to be more accurate, and here he has AVP. AVP means any valid point. And here this is the mark scheme for the table. I want you to take a look. If the 4 are correct, you will take 2 marks. If 2 or 3 are correct, you will take only 1 mark. 1 correct, 0. So please make sure when you're doing a table or matching that you do all the answers the right way, because you might lose marks even if you have some of your answer correct. People who are obese are more likely to develop certain diseases than people who are in the correct weight. Name diseases linked to obesity. There are a lot of diseases linked to obesity. Along our syllabus, we will increase them. So this is all the diseases that we will pass through along the whole syllabus. Okay? A balanced diet includes food that provides fiber. Name a food that is a good source for fiber and explain why fiber is important in the diet. So, cabbage, for example, and these are the different fruits and the different answers for this question, but mainly because it will not be digested, so it helps peristalsis, prevents constipation. Also, it provides fullness to you in order to be able to eat a balanced diet with the right proportions, of course. An obese student wishes to lose weight. Name 2 classes of food that need to be reduced in order to lose weight. Lipids, fats, oils, and also carbohydrates. People who are trying to lose weight are also advised to take more exercise. Explain how this will help them to lose weight. So, when you do exercise, your body starts to break down all the glucose inside your cells in order to get energy. Accordingly, it's going to need more energy. Therefore, it will take the stored fats and break them down in order to extract the stored energy. So, this is how the fat is broken down and you get a better shape. Again, this is the mark scheme to learn to read it, and AW means any wording, which means that if the information is right, the wording will be accepted anyway, even if it's not the same. Thank you, and I hope this video helps you study.